Welcome to Ciutadella, near the Barcelona Olympic Village, but also one of the many termini of the city's modern tram network. Or I should say networks, plural, but we'll get to that. I'll be riding one of them, Trambesòs, the whole way through, and of course it'll be speedrun style. And along the way we'll discuss the past, present, and future of trams and urban planning in Barcelona. So the gist of things is that Barcelona currently has two disconnected tram networks. To the north is Trambesòs, and to the south is Trambesòs. This video will mainly focus on Trambesòs, but I'll show a bit of Trambesòs at the end. Trambesòs is named for being close to the Besòs River, including having two crossings over the river. It started operation in 2004 and currently has 29 stops. It carries routes T4, T5, and T6, and I'm on a T6 right now. All three lines intersect at Glorias, which has 4 tracks, a metro connection, and potentially a regional rail station in the future. Barcelona's very own urban planning legend, Ildefons Cerdà, had imagined Glorias as being the center of the grid the city is now famous for. But nowadays, it's become a large park and public square. Until recently though, it was a rather unsightly highway interchange, but glad that's not the case anymore. It's also now home to a Westfield mall, a telltale sign of urban renewal, for better or for worse. We're currently in a section of Great Separated Tramway running underground right next to the Gran Via highway. There are 3 underground stations in a row in this segment, all of which have fare gates just like Muni Metro. For the service level stations though, you have to swipe your card upon entering the tram. I'm a huge fan of the tram logo, by the way, that you can see on the trains, the stations, the tickets, and even the seats. A good chunk of the Trambesòs stations have transfers to Barcelona metro stations, most of which are on line 4, which spends a lot of time in this area. The metro and tram are operated by different companies, but there is fare integration. I'm about to get off at Lena, a station that's kind of on its own, and then I'll walk back to Parc del Besòs to catch the next T5. Alright, here's Lena. On the T6, we're just done with that. I could always get back on that one, but I'm just gonna walk. I didn't even notice that was there. But yeah, look at that lovely green track. Let's lap the timer. Maybe I should have gotten that. But no, we're gonna walk now back to the station that we were at. But yeah, what we're gonna do now is walk back to the previous station because that's where the T5 split from the T6. We're gonna get the T5 to Gorg. And here we are back at the tram stop. Parc del Besòs, I think it is. And yeah, so far, Barcelona's tram network has really impressed me. And that sign says the next one's in 4 minutes. And here's the first crossing over the Besòs River. This is just so picturesque with the early morning sunrise. Alright, this is Gorg, the end of the line. We just got off the tram. It's gonna turn back in a couple minutes, so let's check out this area a little bit. Massive roundabout over here. There's the metro entrance, and there's the timer. But yeah, I don't want to miss the ride back.
We've been stopped here for a little while, and I don't like that at all.
So here's the situation. My plan is to walk across from San Juan Bautista to Santa Adria station, which are about 500 meters apart. Will I make this tight connection? Let's find out. Oh my god, they made a La Sombrita here in Barcelona.
Alright, there is the Rodalies station, the regional rail station at Santa Adria. But where are the trams? I probably only have a couple minutes. Oh, there it goes. I just missed it. Yeah, I just saw it leaving and like I had no idea how I was gonna make it in there. Like there's the tram stop. I couldn't figure out how to get to it without going inside the regional rail station. But yeah, just like that, 8 minutes lost on this run. But let's lap the timer now that we're at the station. It took me 12 minutes, which is what I expected, but probably could have done it a little bit faster. I think that's the ride I'll be taking back, but yeah, it's very frustrating.
This building right here appears to be the depot for Trambesòs. Unfortunately for the Miles in Transit fans, my ride on the T4 had dots. Oh well. As I head down the T4, now's perhaps a good time to talk about Barcelona's historic trams. In fact, you can probably guess what happened. The lines were thriving in the late 19th century, but by the 1970s they had been ripped out. Though there are some fun facts that are worth sharing. In 1951, a famous demonstration took place where locals boycotted the trams for 2 weeks to protest a fare hike. And in the 60s, some PCC vehicles were loaned from Washington, D.C. as its toy streetcar network met its demise. Today, DC has just the one line, which I've shown before on this channel, and sadly, looks like it'll be going away next year. The development down this bit of the line in Santa Adria is a lot more modern and littered with high-rises. Well, European standard high-rises. It has the vibe of a place that's undergone lots of urban regeneration. Whether that would have still happened without the tram, I'm not too sure. Though this area did host a 5-month-long Universal Forum of Cultures in the same year that the tram opened, so I'm sure there's some relation. Here at Glorias again, the pantograph drops as we begin the ride on the newest section of the Trambesòs. This bit of the line opened in November 2024, just a couple of months before my trip, as the effort to unite the two disconnected tram networks in Barcelona finally took its first steps. This connection will be along the Diagonal, a major boulevard that, as the name suggests, cuts straight through the Barcelona grid. For this bit of the line, it was decided not to install overhead wires. NIMBYs, I bet. Instead, the trams will be powered by Alstom's APS ground power system. And no, this is not a gadget bond. It's a well-proven technology that's been around since 2003 and can be found all over the world, from Latin America to Australia and the Middle East. And just like that, I visited all Trambesòs stations in an hour and a half. It can be done faster, but who cares?
Alright, we've reached the end of the Trambesòs network, and you can see there the ground power, the APS, no catenary.
The quickest way to get from Trambesòs to Trambesòs is to take one of many buses up the Diagonal. And without sounding like I'm fawning over all things Europe, even the buses in Barcelona are super high quality, especially when it comes to technology and digital wayfinding. At every stop, the screens tell you what services you can connect to and when they're arriving, from inside the bus. Never seen anything like that before. On this major road, buses were coming literally every 20 to 30 seconds. Of course, they were across many different routes, but still. That's Market Street in San Francisco levels of bus service. I personally found the Trambesòs less interesting, but it still has plenty of ridership and connects to valuable destinations. It also has one underground station, namely Cornellà, which has connections to both Metro Line 5 and regional lines R1 and R4. So those are Barcelona's trams. They're not the fastest, and there's still work to do to connect them up, but they're a great demonstration of modern light rail practices done right. And with that, that's the last video from Barcelona. In a couple of weeks, I'll take you on a high-speed train trip to Zaragoza. I'll see you then.